Hey guys, welcome to a new tutorial. This time I want to show you the basics of PHP. We will install PHP to use it on the computer. And I tell you why I think you should definitely learn PHP, no matter if you are a beginner or an advanced user with programming skills. If you choose PHP, you not only learn PHP, you will learn how to program in general, and at the same time lay the foundations for a whole bunch of programming languages. If you are a beginner, PHP is very easy to learn because it has a simple syntax. If you are advanced, it is very easy to switch to PHP, since there is a lot of similarity to other languages. I will show you some examples later. PHP is now 25 years old, but it's still evolving. 80% of the internet uses PHP. In addition, with PHP you can develop in large frameworks and web services, like WordPress, Typo3, Joomla, Symfony, Magento, and many more. Okay, let's start. PHP needs a server to execute the PHP code. The easiest way to do this is to install XAMPP on your computer. XAMPP installs an Apache server, a database, and PHP. Just select the download for your operation system and follow the simple installation instructions. I already have XAMPP installed. After the installation, you enter localhost in the browser and see the start page of the server. If you have XAMPP installed on Linux, you will find the HTML files here. Make sure you change the permissions on Linux so you can edit the files. Finally, we need an editor to write our PHP code. For this you can take any text editor. I choose Visual Studio Code here. It's lightweight, has many great features and code completion for many languages. Choose the download for your operation system and check the website if you need more help. But it is very easy to install. If you do not want to install it all now and just want to get started right away with the PHP code, then you can do it all in the browser on the W3 School. Click on Try it now and enter the code directly in the browser. So let's start now. I switch to Visual Studio Code and open my localhost on the right side. We see the index.html file is already open. I change the font size, you can see the code better. Ctrl-Shift-P, Settings, JSON. First, the basics. I have already added the directory in my editor. Now I create a new file, start.php. PHP files always look the same. They start with brackets $PHP and ends with questions marks brackets. Text is output in PHP with echo. I save the file and I enter in the browser localhost/start.php. Here we have our hello PHP. Great! Let's take a look at the different variables and comments. Comments are written with 2 slashes and do not belong to the code. A string is text. In PHP the variables always start with a $sign. The type of the variables results from the content. Integer is a whole number. Float are floating point numbers. Boolean are truth values. Arrays are a collection of several variables. With /* you can write multi-line comments. Now we can also show that in the browser. For example, the number. With a point you connect the variables. Then a space and the array. In the arrays you have to pay attention that they start to count at 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have the browser output. The great strength of PHP is the connection of HTML with PHP. Let's create a simple form in HTML in a new file. The action calls our start.php with the method post. The most important here is the variable username, which we will catch in our PHP file. And at the end a button to send everything. This is what our form HTML looks like. In the PHP file, we now save the username into a new variable. Then we see Hello YouTube here. Okay, next we look at the if statement. If our new number is less than 20, then we print out small. If bigger than 60, then big. And default should be mid. The usual comparison operators are smaller than, bigger than, equal and unequal. If I update the PHP file, there is mid, because our number is 45. The if statement looks the same in many program languages. I'll show you a few examples right away. But first let's look at the switch statement. With switch we can choose between different options. If the OS is equal to Windows, then I'm sorry. With break, we leave the whole switch statement. The same for Linux and macOS. The switch statement, for example, is exactly the same in Java. If I update this in the browser, I am sorry. Of course you could combine that with HTML input as well. Let's continue with the loops. First, the while loop. As long as the number is under 25, the body of the loop is executed. The number is increased by 1 and displayed on the screen. I enter a HTML sign to create a new line, BR. Then there is a for loop that works quite similarly. Count equal 1, count is less than or equal to 25, then count is incremented by 1. Everything in the body should be executed. I write here an if statement within the loop. Every time count divided by 5 returns 0, a new line should be written. After every 5 steps, a line break is made. The for loop are exactly the same in many programming languages. This is the loop in PHP and other languages. Partly it is exactly the same, sometimes only one sign is different. This is what I meant that learning PHP is not only PHP, but a whole bunch of programming languages. The third and last loop I want to show you is the foreach loop. This allows you to go through every object from an array. I create a new array with different contents. I can now output an array object directly. Or we print everything in a loop. Each OS is displayed as the key in the loop. Next, I have to show you how to write data in a file with PHP. We can take a quick look at what that looks like in Java. You create a file object, create a file writer, create a buffet writer, write everything in a loop, and then at the end you close the object again. You know what I mean, many lines of code. So what does it look like in PHP? I create a file first. text.txt. Then I create some content that we can write in the file. A date, an IP from a host, for example YouTube. Then the text content, a new line, then the IP and the date. D is days, S is seconds. In the PHP documentation, you can look at what these different letters mean. I recommend you to look at the PHP manual anyway. There's help for everything here. For example, variables, basics, and so on. So, back to the code. In PHP, we need a single line to write in a file. We choose the file, the content, and the content should be attached. I execute that, and in the text file there is the new information. I press a few times OK, and the file is updated. Oh, the IP is missing. Of course, the IP should be in here. Now it works too. And the whole thing works only with this single line. The last thing I want to show you are functions in PHP. With functions, you can call certain parts of the code again and again and pass different parameters. As an example, we take the calculation of the body mass index. We need 2 variables, weight and height. The BMI is calculated by weight divided by 2 times height. This will be returned. If we now call the function, the inputs are automatically calculated and printed. My BMI is 24. We can now round it all off and then use the function multiple times. Okay, works perfect. Of course, if you do it all in the browser on W3 School, it works the same way. I recommend you to read the basics in the manual on php.net. If you want to learn more, check the online tutorials from W3 School and click on Start Learning. So these were the real basics of PHP. I hope you could learn something new. With that, you can already start programming and expand your knowledge. If you liked what you saw, please leave me a like on this video. See you in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.